Okay, good evening. Let's begin with the webinar. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for being here today and mention that we are recording the session so that those who were not able to attend to the webinar, they will be able to watch it in the future. So my name is Borja Guillen. I am the account manager of the solutions department in Innova. And the objective of this session is to introduce our solution in Translate, belonging to our suite Intools, show its functionality through a demo, and explain our site in online and state why it is essential when setting up and managing the solution. So let's provide now a brief introduction of our company. Innova is one of the few Microsoft ISV development centers worldwide and the only one speaking Spanish. We provide services for both financial operations and Business Central, including also our own solutions, which are supported by these ERPs. Our headquarters are established in Castellón, Spain, and our team is formed by more than 30 professionals with over 15 years of experience. So as aforementioned, we offer our own solutions, which are divided into suites. One of them is the suite eSign, whose main feature is the digital signature. Within this suite, we may find eSign Facturae, available for both Business Central and financial operations, and this solution is able to generate and sign digital invoices. On the other hand, we may find eSign ePDF, which is available for Business Central. This solution is able to digitally sign any PDF file. Nonetheless, this solution have been already explained in previous webinars, but in case you couldn't attend them and you want to know more about them, you can send me an email and I will gladly send you the recordings for these webinars. So the suite Intools includes in Translate, in Data Manager, in Self Setup, and in Apps Analyzer. Today we will focus on in Translate, and we will deal with an explanation of the solution, and right after we will proceed with a demo of in Translate. I also want to introduce a new functionality, which is the external translation portal, and then we will finish with some questions or doubts from the audience. So let's focus now on the explanation of the solution. As you may know, in Translate is able to easily create XLF files in any language available. It also provides a fluent maintenance and update of the translation and possesses an automatized service of translations. So let's show you now our website Innova Online, which is crucial when setting up and managing the solution. So in the main visual interface of the site, you may find all the solutions provided by our company, as you can see. We go into each solution. Let's get into in Translate now. The web page will display an introduction and a thorough tutorial of the solution. And also the user will be able to analyze the different plans available. I find it important to mention that all our solutions can be downloaded at Microsoft Marketplace App Stores, and only by registering our site you will be able to utilize them. Now we're going to log in with a real account for you to check what can you expect when downloading and registering our site. Okay. So here the customer ID, which is essential, since afterwards we will have to introduce it in the setup wizard, and in this visual interface we can also check which solution we have available in our user. All this. If we get into each solution, in this case, let's go into Translate. We can just switch the language. We can also find a download link for the solution, as you can see here, the higher plan, and also the recommended plan according to the usage we are doing of that solution. So that will be it for the website. Let's proceed now with the demo. Okay. That's it. That's Business Central. So in previous versions of Navision, we had to use Caption ML to do the translation in different languages. But in this updated version, the translations are done using a XLIF file. Therefore, through a XLIF file generated by the system, if we wanted to do a translation in different systems, or in different languages in this case, we should create these files each time with a different language. Our solution is able to do exactly this, but in a quite simpler way. Through the same original file, we will be able to generate the translated ones. So once we have downloaded our solution from App Stores and we have completed the register in our site, the user will have its customer ID, as I have just shown you before, and it's going to be necessary when setting up the solution. Thus, the first thing to do is to work on the configuration of the application. So we come to Innova Online Setup, and we will need to introduce the customer ID, like this. Once this is done, we will need to set up the languages. Again, setup and languages. So in this visual interface, the user is able to check the languages that are already set up in the solution. As you can see here, we only have 3 because these are the ones that we are going to use for the demo. But you can set up as many as you need. The only thing you need is to introduce the ISO code, which is the code that is going to establish the language that is going to be used. So once this configuration is completed, we can start to do the translations. But how does this work? When we own a solution, a XLF file is produced, which is composed by several nodes. These nodes are referencing all the captions, tooltips or labels of the solution. Therefore, through these captions, tooltips, or labels, a XLF file is created. So if we wanted to do the translation of this, theoretically, we should copy this file, generate a new one, and modify its target, adding a new node to do this translation. Our solution can do all this process, but automatically. So the first step is to get into the translations, and several actions will be displayed. Among these actions, the load translation file, update captions, create external translation, translate captions, and create translation files are going to be used in the demo, so they are quite important. Let's imagine that we want to generate a translation file for one of our solutions. We don't have a translation done yet, hence we are going to use the update captions. This tool is going to ask for the language we want to utilize, in this case, Spanish. Okay. And now it's going to ask for the base translation file, since from this file, all the translated files will be generated. Let's choose it. Once this is imported, it will create some lines, as you can see here, in which we can start to function. So the information to be found in this section is the nodes, the language of the file, the captions, and the caption ML, which is the gap that we are going to fill in the translation with. So in order to show you how it works, let me just edit it. I'm going to fill in the gaps, translating the captions myself. Okay. And now we can just create the translation file through actions, create translation file. The system will inform us that the file is going to be created, and again we will have to indicate the language. And after that, we will have to import again the base translation file, which is again this one. So now once the file is created, the system is going to suggest a name according to the name of the solution and the language we are using. So let's save it. And now we can go to our application, and we can check that a new translation file is created, and a different target language, as you can see here, has been generated. This new file includes the original target and the new translated one, which is what we needed in order to generate our translation file. So that's done. Let me just remove the lines because I want to show you another example. Yes, okay. So another functionality we can use is, say we already have a solution with its translation. As for example, this case, we have already generated the translation file, but we want to do some modifications. Instead of doing them manually here in our application, we can load the translation file here. When loading it, the system is claiming that if we have any data, it will be erased for you to know. So we have to input the language code. And we need to import the translate file. This time the translated one, because we want to do some modification. So this one. And now we can just, for example, this is the lines of the translation file. We can just modify it. For example, let me just add something visual for you to see. This one, for example, and this. Okay, say these are the modifications I wanted to do. Let's create again the translation file. We will need the language code. And now, yeah, the base translation file. Okay. Again, it will suggest a name. Let's just overwrite it. Yeah. Okay. And if we go to our application, we can see that the changes have been done. So that's one of it. Let me just again erase the lines. Manage here. So another modality available is, for example, if we want to select a different language of the aforementioned, the process to follow would be quite similar. I mean, we don't have the translation done for any other language. What we want is to use a completely new language. Therefore, we can use the update captions tools again, right here. And we will have to select a new language. Sorry, let me just, okay. Say we want to use now Italian. And we have to import the base translation file, like this. Okay, now we have the lines for the Italian translation file, but again we have to fulfill these gaps. Previously, I could fulfill it myself because I knew I can't speak Spanish, so I can't fulfill these gaps. But this time I don't know any Italian, so we have a tool that is going to automatically translate the captions, which is this one. So let's translate the captions, the language code, Italian, and the name of the solution, this one. So now those lines that are untranslated will be translated accordingly to this translating system. It is done, as you can see. And now we can proceed to create the translation file right here. Language code, Italian. And again, we have to import the base translation file. Working on it, and the system is going to suggest a name accordingly to the name of the solution and the language. Okay. and a new translation file has been created, as you can see here, with all the targets and the new translation for the captions, as you can see here. Okay, so let's go to the role center. In this main interface, detailed information about the usage is going to be displayed, as you can see right now. For example, the lines that we have in our solution, whether they are translated or not, and in which solution these translations are included. So if we go into solutions, we can see that this is the only solution we have right now, and the lines of it. We go into each of them, we can see exactly which lines are we talking about. So besides in import translations, we will be able to select specific lines that that should not be translated, check some developers kind of comments, and also specify the amount of characters to utilize in a translation. Also, I find important to mention that we have updated the solution, included new functionalities. For example, the first one is that the solution now allows to upload bigger files, provided we compress the file, of course. For instance, if we own a version number 14 of a solution containing, I don't know, 10,000 translated lines, and we want to upload a new file version 15 with 15,000 lines, our solution would keep these 10,000 translated lines and just add the new 5,000 lines. In order to translate the latest line, we can just either use the translate captions tool or just translate them manually. On the other hand, the other new functionality is that previously in our main interface right here where you see lines, whenever we had more than 1,000 lines, it will only display, for example, plus 999, for example, 999. Now, this interface will display exactly the exact amount of lines we are using. And now I would like to introduce the external translation tool. Generally, what this tool does is, for example, if we are doing a translation of a development, like this is the case now, and we want someone, a trusted third party, to verify or just do this translation. For example, say that I have a local partner that speaks German, for example, and I'm working on a German translation. I can send this process to this person, and he's going to be able to check the translation or just do it himself. The only thing we need is just the Innova Online portal and an email. That's it. Let me show you how it works. For example, I'm going to use this one, the lines I have just done of the Italian version, and we can just create external translation. We'll need to introduce the language code and the solution name. Okay, it says that it has been created, and now we have to refresh this. All right. Here we have all the external translations that we have done, but it's simpler. Maybe it's easier if we just come to this one. Okay, and we have to input the email and the contact we are going to use. In this case, I'm going to use myself, but okay, the contact name again, it's mine. Okay, and now we can send it to the portal. So whenever we do it, we will receive an email confirming the details and also a link to access this translation. So let's check it. Okay, as you can see here. And now we just have to access it. And this is the main interface. Here it will say the name of the project, the language, and also the status, but we can just switch the language. And it says that there are 5 lines. These 5 lines are translated, but they are not reviewed. So that's what we are going to do. We are going to review them. Let's request the access code, which will be sent again to our email. Okay, let's just wait. Here. And this is the access code. All right, so in this main interface, these are the lines of our solution, and this is the status. So if we want to start to function and we want to check and verify each line, we should change the status to in process. Whenever we change the status, we will receive an email confirming it. So say that I am the one in charge of checking and verifying these translations. I would come here and I say, for example, ID is translated into this. And I say, okay, this is correct. This one is also correct. This one's correct. But for example, say this one is not. So if I can just modify it here and save it. And it also moves to checked. And this one, for example, is also correct. So when I finish verifying and checking each line, I can set the status to completed, and these lines will be sent to our ERP. So let's go to Business Central to verify it. Okay. So this is the one we have just created. Let's, for example, review the translations, because we can do that as well. So these are the translations that we have done with InTranslate, and these are the ones that we received through the external portal. As you can see, those that are in green are the ones that matches our translations, but the one in red does not. So we can modify it ourselves. For example, if we know for sure that this solution, that this line is il mio tavolo, you can just erase it and save translations. If we don't modify it and we save the translation that would prevail is the one that would receive through the external translation. So let's save the translation. And now if we go to the lines, we can just create a new translation file. So that would be it in terms of InTranslate. Now let's go to the questions and doubts section. So you can use the chat to send us your questions. In the meantime, I find essential to remind you that InTranslate can be freely downloaded at App Stores, and it also can be installed in a Docker. In our webpage, Innova Online, you can find the download link for the solution. So now let's just wait a couple of minutes to receive the questions. Okay, if you don't have any question, we can finish the session. We hope you found the webinar useful, and we are looking forward to hearing from you soon. Again, thank you very much, and see you next time.